it says yesterday, right? It says 10, 25, 16. Yeah. Yeah, you want it? So, got a parking ticket yesterday. And you're like, what does this parking ticket have anything to do with faith and confirmation? There's a quote that somebody told me that I read one time by Randy Posh. It's not about how to achieve your dreams, it's about how to live your life. If you live your life the right way, the karma will take care of itself and the dreams will come to you. The reason why I shared that is it'll come back to the parking ticket in a second. So, when I was 9 years old, my family was in a car crash. Drunk driving. I hit my family. And my world turned upside down when I was 9. I'm 27 now, so it was about 18 years ago. They flipped my car upside down, and my mom has lived in bed in pain, in chronic pain, since that day, when I was 9. So, it was a while ago. When I was in your shoes, when I was 12, I was going through confirmation, and at that time, my mom was in so much pain in her back that I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was kind of lost. And then, if you remember, you guys remember 9/11, September 11th? Maybe you heard of that? So that was when I was in 7th grade. 9/11 happened when I was in 7th grade. So I went through confirmation, and my family I grew up pretty well off. Grew up very well off. And medical bills piled up for my family, and I ended up losing everything. I went as far as homeless. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, cars were repossessed, and I went homeless for about 3 months. And so my faith, the biggest thing was I always had somebody there to kind of help me through things when times got really hard. But I'll never forget in terms of what confirmation's been like for me. When I went into, you guys are going into high school next year? Raise your hand, you're in 8th grade now. Some of you in 8th grade? Okay. You guys are going to be freshmen next year? Cool. So when I went into high school, this was just a story about, I asked a father of mine today, he said, hey, I'm going to be coming and talking at a church today about confirmation. And I said, what should I talk about? And he said, well, there's the seven to 10 gifts of confirmation. He talks about peace and patience and joy and kindness and gentleness and goodness and faithfulness. Some of the gifts of Galatians 5:22. And I started to think, okay, well, how can I really help these kids? I don't know these kids, they don't know me. They don't know me from Adam. I'm Freddie, but they don't know me. And I thought to myself, well, maybe it was just about sharing some of the struggles I went through, and just to kind of help you understand that I can't relate to where you are right now, but how faith has been so important in my life, and what confirmation meant to me. So, in a nutshell, my family went through, my mom's lived in bed for 18 years in pain. She's chronic pain, 6 herniated discs. She's had colon cancer 2 times, and pseudonoxonomia peritoneum, which is a very rare abdomen cancer. The cancer burst in her stomach. And in 2009, this is how important prayer has been in my life. In 2009, the doctor said, we're going to split her open from the bottom of her neck to her pelvis, take out a bunch of organs and try to clean out the cancer. And it's 50-50 if she's going to come out of this. And so that was a really tough time for me. And so I spent the whole day in church. I went into a church down in San Diego where the surgery was at. And I just prayed all day long. I didn't know what else to do. Because at that time, my confirmation and just my faith as a whole was growing. And I started to realize that there's nothing more important in my life than faith. For me, it's always been 3 F words. It's been faith, then it's been family, and then it's been friends. And it's been in that order. It's just been one of those things where in order to keep the faith, there was times where in high school I was lonely. I transferred to a school where I didn't know anybody. And I always came back to those principles of kindness and goodness. There was a little boy when I was in high school. And when you guys go to high school, maybe you'll see they have brunch and whatnot in between classes. And there was this big boy, he was like 6'3". He had a he was like this tall, and he was like this wide, and he had a huge black trench coat on. Like all black pants, black trench coat. And so I came over to him and I said, hey, what's your name? He said, what do you want? I said, he was juggling tennis balls. And so I went over to him and I said, what's going on with the juggling? You're really good at that. And he said, whatever. I said, well, I put on the rallies here at the school. I put on like the pep rallies so people get fired up for a game or an activity. I said, would you like to come do that at one of our pep rallies? And he said, okay. So all of a sudden, there was about 2 weeks later, there was 6,000 kids in a gymnasium, a high school gymnasium. And here's Jason, this big, tall guy, juggling these tennis balls. He's really good at juggling tennis balls. Long story short, a week later, he came up to me and he said, Freddie, thank you. I said, you're welcome. What's going on? He goes, people say hi to me on campus now. This guy was 6'3", he wore a black trench coat. Nobody ever really talked to him. He was very intimidating. And people didn't know his name now. It wasn't like they knew this was Jason. They just knew this was the juggler guy. He was in this rally, he did this cool thing, and he started juggling. And everybody's like, oh, hey, juggler dude, good stuff, man, you're cool. And what that was about was, that was an act of faith and an act of living by the Spirit. Because that was just me trying to be gentle and kind to somebody, and I had no intention. And it turned out that I'm not quite sure what the effect was, but it could be something along the lines of helping change his life. The nice thing for me is I've been through a lot in terms of different issues, financially and health. My mom's been disabled for 18 years. She lives in bed for all day, every day, on one side of her body in chronic pain. She's on about 25 different medications, really heavy medications, to stay alive. And that's been very hard. I've turned into a caregiver at a young age, taking care of my mom. I told you that we lost a lot. I went as far as homeless for a couple months, and I started to realize how important, how expensive cheese is. Anybody had cheese before? A couple people had cheese? Cheese, the block of cheese that I used to buy was $5.29. That cheese got so expensive that my family couldn't afford that cheese. And cheese got so expensive that for a while I lived off of tortillas and canned beans. And the reason why I share that is those were the times where faith was the most important thing in my life. When my mom was going through that surgery, prayer and faith has been steady through everything. And so time went on, I got older, and the nice thing was I had a lot of people I was surrounded around a lot of good people. And what seems to be cool, I got a chance to get to know Jose. Got to get a chance to know Jose a little bit this morning before, or not this morning, but earlier, about 30 minutes. He came early. You guys know Jose? Jose's a pretty cool dude. And so I had a chance to kind of connect with Jose. We were speaking a little Spanish. That's the más and in terms of learning about each other, I started to realize that faith was the most important thing because I had people around me. And you guys have each other. You have each other here. You've got Deacon Paul. Deacon Paul's one of the gentlest, kindest, most loving people I've met. Just got a chance to get to know him over a couple of years, and we're still getting to know each other. But you've got each other, and you've got Deacon Paul and different people here. And for me, I had two important families when times were really rough. I had the Myers family. Times were rough where I didn't have enough food for a Thanksgiving meal, and they brought over a Thanksgiving basket for us. And the Diaz family is the people that housed my family when we lost our home to foreclosure and cars repossessed and all that. And so I had a lot of good people around. And so as I got confirmed and went into high school and then eventually went to college, I found that school and the people I was with were kind of the second home. I'll kind of bring this fast forward to about a year ago. About a year ago, there was one person, Anybody close with maybe a grandparent, a grandma or grandpa? Cool. And your name? Marisol? Marisol? Am I saying it right? Mari? Marisol? Okay, Marisol. Mari. So, my grandma was one of the most important people in my life. She's the one that, she's taught me all about faith. She used to pray every single night. She used to go help out and give as much as she could. Bless you. Salute. It's okay. It's part of life. And so my grandma, she's always there. And so about a year ago, she got really, really sick. And she was in the hospital for about 3 weeks. And there was this one night, it was a Friday night, September 15th, 2015. She was not doing too hot. She was laying on her bed and wasn't really all there. I said the rosary about 3 or 4 times and had a chance to kind of be there with her in her last moments. And one of the coolest things through prayer is what God gave me in that moment. Because He gave me the feeling, the power, and the gift that this is real and that there is nothing stronger than the faith that I have with God in prayer. Because in a really weird sense, she passed away, and as soon as she took her last breath, I looked back, and I was the only one in the room. And it was almost as if there was a wind or a ghost or an angel or whatever you might want to call it. But it made me think, what was that? And that wind or whatever that was, that spirit, that was there in the moment that let me know that she's going to be in heaven and I'm going to see her one day. And it was a pretty cool feeling. So, in terms of bringing it all around, I'm the first one to admit I've got a lot of mistakes. I've messed up a lot. I have messed up many times. And my faith could be a lot better. There's a couple things that I put down a couple notes earlier. I was thinking, how could I be better? Nightly reflection, nightly prayer, that's something I don't do enough of. I don't go to confession enough. And one of the biggest things is I'm distracted by my phone all the time. Social media, photo bombs, Instapop, Snap Chisel, Facebook, Instapop, the whole 9 yards. I'm on that stuff way too much. And there's distractions every single day. And so that I can be better. So I called my father, Father Sal, he's my priest that I'm really close with, and I said, hey, how can I help these kids? How can I share something that might be helpful for them in their confirmation? And he said, well, confirmation is about living by the Spirit. Living by the Spirit being God. And so, as you guys get confirmed and you move on, baptism and the Eucharist, the biggest things is you have each other, you have God in prayer, and you have church. And church, it's one of those things where I've always thought, there's been many times where I've sat in church and I'm like, I'm not, what's going on today? I'm just not here. But what I've remembered and what's kept me strong and grown in my faith for my whole life is church has always been a place of focus for me. It's made me kind of focus and be like, this, and this, these people, this air, God, it's always kind of brought me back and made me think, there's something bigger than myself. There's something bigger than us. There's something bigger in this world. And church and my family has always kind of helped me focus around moving forward. So that's what's most important to me. And so the last things I would say, if we want to do questions, I'd love to ask questions or something. But just in terms of kindness, gentleness, those are the kind of things that it means.